I'm working on a new surf-inspired tune right now, and I want to show you how I use the diminished scale to build a melody line. Now, the first thing I will say about this is I didn't start thinking like I'm going to use a diminished scale and trying to intentionally use music theory. I was playing and it came up with a riff. Actually, it was for a pedal demo, and I just found this sound when I was exploring surf tones using the Strymon Volante, like the Vincent Eckerrecht sound. And I came up with this riff, and I came up with parts of it, and I was like, well, how could I expand on this? And once I started working on it, I realized that it was really belonged to the diminished scale, and I could use the diminished scale to expand on it. Now, that doesn't mean that I used the diminished scale for the whole song, right? Or that it had to strictly all be using the diminished scale even for the section, but it's largely inspired on that. I'm going to play it and then start tearing it apart and showing you what I did. So let me get to the part. There's an intro here, and I want to get to the section that where the guitar comes in. Let me change my view. I'm using Dorico here, but let's see. It's going to come in right coming up here. All right, to get playback to sound a little more sophisticated in this, I am using a couple of additional plugins here, and I'll show you that before I get too deep into the theory. So for the upright bass, I'm using this Library Mojo upright bass, which is just a wonderful sounding plugin. It just makes it sound a little bit more realistic. It's not really like the real thing completely, but it definitely helps. And the same thing when I'm using the Real LPC, which is a guitar emulation, and I happen to be running into that amplitude to get like the brown panel Fender sound with the reverb. And for the electric organ, I'm using the Arturia Farfisa. Just makes it sound a little better on playback, even though it's still not perfect. Oh yeah, the drums. I'm using one on the drums too. I'm using Easy Drummer 3 with the jazz drum kit, which I use a lot for surf music because it's the closest to the way that they were tuning the drums around that time period. So this is my playback template for the surf style of music that I'm writing. So if we go back here, the song starts out in B, or B minor, or if I want to think of it as a B diminished, right? And basically we see here it starts on a B, right? And then we have our root, flat 7, or flat 2, right, which exists in the diminished, right? Flat 3, flat 2, and then major 3, right? So this is all outlining here the notes that are in the B diminished scale, the half-whole diminished, I should mention, right? And sometimes this scale is called the octatonic scale, right? And you'll see that I'm also outlining this in the bass line too, and with some chromaticism. Here's an example of me diverting from using the diminished scale, which I do in some cases, and I think not a ton in the melody line, but you will find it in the bass. And I really like spending some time to figure out the harmony in the bass, just to I don't know, I find it exciting. It's a puzzle, right? So thinking about how the melody line works and how the bass is creating counterpoint against it. There's nothing more that happens the second time it repeats, except that there's a couple embellishments. Here's a neighbor tone that's being played, and yeah, so everything is here's a chromatic tone in the guitar, and there's a chromatic step there. It's a leading tone actually, and so you see me using it a little bit, and there's some chromaticism over here in this actual line that is going to move us down to the chorus, right? Let's check what's going on here. So yeah, so the G sharp, yep, that's in the, this actually looks to be all diminished. So actually, I didn't use a lot of chromaticism here. This is all on the diminished scale. I don't know. It's the surf music really allows room for you to play with more, I don't know, exotic or uh, dense scales, right? You could use melodic minor, you can use whole tone, you could use some of these, and sparingly sometimes, but you can use them and get some more interesting sonorities or interesting melody lines in your music. Let's just go to, I think I have it set up on here where it's just the organ, guitar, and bass. So let's just hear the guitar and the bass together and hear what's happening with the harmonies. With this B section, it goes to something that you'd expect a lot more from that genre of music, right? We've got some parallel movement in the chords, right? It feels a lot more diatonic or relating to a major minor scales, the traditional ones. Yeah, I just think it's really cool to get your ear trained to, I don't know these sounds so that, I don't know, when you start working on a melody line or something starts tickling your ear, you have the tools to be able to expand on it. And I will just repeat my previous statement in saying that I never start with the theory, right? So I'm starting with a kernel of an idea, and then I'm using the theory to then expand upon it, right? Okay, I have this idea. I want to take it somewhere else. Where else can I take it? So I do want to show you the diminished scale quickly. And I'm going to show you the diminished scale I use. Just these quarter notes here, B, C. Let's take these down an octave. So B, C, D, right, and then D sharp, right, and then we're going to have F, F sharp, G sharp, A, and B. Right. This is the B diminished scale. So we're on, I think of this as being a flat second, a flat 3, a major 3. This is a sharp 4, right, the 5th, and the 6th, flat 7th, and back to the tonic again, it's just an octave higher. This is great because I built melodies from this. I didn't build chords from this for this particular composition, but sometimes when I do compose using the diminished scales, there are 2 of them, by the way, I will often build chords from these as well, because you can get very interesting chord progressions, or even just interesting tensions on the chords by stacking the notes either in thirds or fifths, or fourths, right? You can get some exciting fresh sounds, and sometimes you're only using this over like a short period of time, right? Sometimes you could really dig in and use it for longer periods of time. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that because it's something I've been working on this week. I'm going to record this song with all real instruments soon. What you were seeing is me really just map out the song, which I do all the time now, or most of the time now, before I record songs. So I just wanted to share that thought. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. And if you have something to talk about, please do comment in the video and check out my website, anatomyoftone.com.